Welcome to all the classic car enthusiasts. I've got some comments on the last video I made, one from a guy called Ian Miller, and I don't know what he does, whether he does cars himself, but I'm not going to quote it verbatim, but he basically said, oh yeah, get a mirror to put the lead in because it's poisonous, basically meaning I don't want to do it myself, which I've lead in most of these cars. In fact, it's a common practice in the classic car industry, especially older cars that were lead loaded, because this is how it was done before filler came along. And yes, if you were using lead every day, 8 hours a day for weeks or months, yes, it would be harmful to your health. But we're talking about doing it for an hour. It's like everything. I mean, we've got to a point where health and safety has just gone completely over the top, and this political correctness, and it's just a load of bollocks. And I get really sick of it. What really annoys me more than anything is these very same people never show their work. They're up to criticise everybody else. I call them armchair critics because they don't get out and do it like the rest of us. We're actually showing what we're doing, right or wrong, or the way we're doing it to try and help other people. But they always want to make criticisms from their comfort of their laptop or their armchair. So if you've got any balls, go out and show us what you can do, and then maybe we can say yes, you're right, or whatever. But words are easy. Yeah, let's see some action. Okay, on that same note, I got another comment on a very old video I did some time back on the boot of this Mini. You know how it opens sideways, and the guy's simply written, why? And I wrote back, why not? It's my car, I can do whatever I want with it, like anybody else can do. It was an exercise I wanted to see if it would work, and it did. So what's the problem? What is your problem that you have to come out with crap like that? It really annoys me. So if you've got nothing to say, if you've got nothing to say that's constructive, just don't watch. It doesn't bother me whether you watch or not, okay? So I don't want to make a rant about this, but this kind of stuff really pisses me off because there is no need for it. So you show us what you can do. If you're going to make a criticism, prove what you can do and what you can't do. Then maybe we'll have some respect for you or whatever, instead of hiding behind a name. Okay, so that's all I've got to say on that. Somebody wrote to me about these arches. Now, again, this is just my preferred way of doing it. I happen to have these strengtheners and I wanted to use it. This car is being built to order, so it's already bought. The car's already sold before we even finish it. So I guess that's a testament to something. And he wants it basically the same way. Now, there is another way of doing these arches, and somebody made a comment, which is a fair one, that I did mention I'd try and do it the way the guys in Bad Obsessions did it. And I don't have a round bar, but I have a piece of square stock, which I'm going to try on an old wing. As I say, in this situation, we've actually got the inner strength, we got the strengthener, so we're obviously going to use them. But the technique that they used in Bad Obsession Motorsport is a great idea, and I'm going to give an old wing a try and see how it works out on camera. But if you guys have done this before, like this particular viewer said he'd done it before, send us a photograph on davejaguar66@gmail.com so I can show everybody else and how it looks and how it's finished. So, and it is a great idea, rather than doing a lot of welding and so on and so forth, but you need to be pretty precise with it and pretty good at bodywork, I think, to get it spot on. The guys in Bad Obsession Motorsports are pros, there is no doubt about that. And obviously, a lot of people in that are doing car repairs are doing it on the side, or they're doing it as a hobby, and they're not pros, they're not doing it all day long, or they've not had 20-30 years experience like these guys have got. And it's fairly obvious from their videos that they're top pros. This is why they build so many rally cars and race cars for people. Anyway, so what I'll do is I'll go down, I'll cut this, and in the next part of the video we're going to show you that we've lead loaded it. And basically this Ian Miller guy, what he said was, or a part of it was, is face reality, filler is, or mixed filler is part of a car repair. Yes, it is a very slight skimmer filler, and even Trev, who I respect highly, does the same thing. It's very, very light. And what he said was, which is actually wrong, and I told him he was wrong, is he said that, I'll quote, body filler is the most durable and long lasting. Well, I'm sorry, but you're talking crap. It's not. Lead is better than any other filler. They used to use it years ago, not just because they used it years ago, but it will last longer than any filler because it won't crack, it doesn't shrink, it's metal. So how can it be more durable and long lasting? Filler cracks and it shrinks. Even Trev, who I think we all respect highly, says the same thing. Okay, so that statement is absolute crap. I'm sorry, but it is. But it was the connotations that he was saying that I'm using or I'm poisoning a mere because of the lead. Get a life. Anyway, on that note, we'll do part 2. We'll show you what we've been up to and how we're actually fitting the arches. And as I said, guys, if you're watching this and it annoys you or whatever, don't watch it. It doesn't put me up nor down. Some quick shout outs, because there's some really good channels here, but I want to give some shout outs. The first one is the guy, I didn't mention his name, he's not on camera, but he's got some really good videos, and it's called Smugwood Mini. Smugwood Mini. I think he's got about 4 or 5, and he's fairly new to the restoration. I don't know if he's fairly new to the restoration, but certainly the Mini, he said he was anyway. He's written that he is. So let's go and have a look at his and give him some support. The other one is, I've mentioned before, is Randy at Lone Star Mini. He's got 3 minis and an old, I think it's a 64, which would be a Mark II Cooper. So they're really worth looking at. Really nice fella. Again, he's in the States. It's the first time he's had anything, so we can all support him out. Mini Tom gave him a shout out. And the last one is one called Urchfab, and that's spelled U-R-C-H-F-A-B, one word. Urchfab. I think the guy's called Matt Urch is his name, U-R-C-H. So it's Urchfab. And this guy has a fabrication shop somewhere in the UK. He's just done a big series on making a transporter, a beaver tail transporter. And his welding is just superb, it's really good. But he's got a lot of videos on tips about how to fill up holes on bodywork on cars, how to set up the MIG welder, how to do a push and pull. But they're so well done, they're really basic, and not basic, but they're really well filmed, but they're to the point. And if you need some help with your welding, go and have a look at this, Urchfab. As I said, U-R-C-H-F-A-B. Matt, his name is. Really nice fella, very cool guy, youngish fella, and he's well, as I say, his welding is superb. Okay, he's making stuff like roll bars, and I think he does these drift cars or hot rod cars. But he's got some really good videos up on helping you with car body welding and techniques and so on. Well worth a look. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, so somebody asked us about the little tool. We made this out of a bit of square bar and cut the end off. They had round bar. I think the thing with the square bar, the advantage with that is you can keep it into the right plane. So if you're lifting it, you can lift it straight with the square bar, whereas with the round one it'd be easy to twist it. It's just a point. This is for something else, but we've just usually cut the end straight through. It's not particularly square, but we just wanted to try it out. So this is an old wing that was on the beige Mini, and the piece was cut out to try it on the jigsaw. Now obviously this wing would be attached to the car when you did this, not loose like this, so it's a bit more difficult. But you can see I've already tried it and it works fairly well. You can see it works really well. You see how I can bend this. But what you need to do is bend it very slowly, a little bit at a time, not take too much of a bite as you're lifting it. This is all cracked because it was rubbish, the metal in it. That's why it was replaced. But you can see as long as I go along slowly, it works quite well. Now here I've just done it so it's got an angle on it. So In fact, this would actually save you lead loading and putting an angle on it to get the water to run off. So rather than have it at 90 degrees like this, for instance, you could bring this right up, which would give it, obviously at 90 degrees it's going to have more strength than it would if it was at an angle. But I'll bring this up so you could see there that that's almost 90 degrees, whereas this has got a slight angle, which would allow water to come off easier. Because this is an area where water gets trapped, especially when there's chrome edging on it. So I'll do this little bit here, just to prove the point. So you can see I can go in. I mean, this is damaged, but I can go in, but you'd have to take it very, very easy. So you take it up to the edge, put a slight bend in it. You'd have to take a little bite at a time, not much. Again, this wing is moving around because it's not secured on the car. And if you took a little bite at a time, it would do the trick. Again, this is not cleaned up either. So I'll just do this little bit here so you can see it. And it does work very well. I'm quite impressed actually. This edge is quite rough here. I should have cleaned it up first, but anyway, you get the idea. And as you go along and do a little bit, and just tease it up slowly. But what you wouldn't want to be doing is pulling this back up and down a lot, because you'll twist it off, you'll break it off. The edge is not as defined as a strengthener, but like I said, you know, we had the strengtheners. It looks really nice. So I'm going to show you now. Amir's finished the welding on it and he's lead loaded it in, and it's only got a very slight bit of lead load in there, but you'll see it in the video. You can see that he's actually, I can stay out the light, you can see that the arch is all lead loaded in and how nice it looks. You can see down here is actually fitted. I'll try and get this side on so you can see now he's fitted that corner piece in. And because normally what happens is it comes down and it's kind of straight line and then an edge, and it just looks nice there. And you can see it's all in. On here, you can see that arch is not finished off yet, but that's the start of it. So what we'll do, we'll turn it over and we'll show you the inside. So he's going to flip it over. That should do it. Can you bring it upright? Bring it on an angle, at 90 degrees. Okay, so let's just leave it there, and you can see now how it's all put in. Hopefully that's going to show up. And all this has been welded all the way around, here. So, and it looks really nice and extremely strong. You know, it's as good as. But probably because the radius is a bit bigger, it's probably even better. But you can see, what we're going to do now is finish this little piece off on the corner and just get this all right. So, I'll bring it back because he's working on the car. And you can see there, can I leave it there? You can see there how he's got the door done. And somebody was commenting, sorry, I'll just bring it back down. Somebody was commenting on these, I'll just open this door so you can see it. Somebody was commenting on these. You can see here there's a slight, whoop. Yeah? Yeah. Right, we're locked. You can see here there's a slight dent in the door. So what we'll do is we'll bring the spot welder over and we'll pull this out. But you can see how nice it looks on the internal part of the door. You can't actually see the fold. So obviously this is all complete new door skin. And you normally get a little edge in here, and they normally put caulking in it. And what he's done is lead loaded that, and then a very slight skim of filler, like our man mentioned. You need to use filler somewhere in the car, of course you do, but the lightest of skims. And you can see how nice it looks all the way along the bottom and in the corners. So there you go, a really nice fit here. As I said, this car is being built to order, so we must be doing something right, because the customer or the person that's buying it has already seen the other Mini, the beige Mini, and basically the only difference with this car is it will be a left-hand drive, It'll have the same engine in it, or same standard. The only other thing that won't be the same as my Mini, the beige one, is the boot will be normal hinging. That's about the only difference. So he's getting his own bespoke interior which will fit, and the tyres he wants on it. And so yeah, so there we are. But it's you can see that's a really nice fit. That I would think to bend that, you can do it and it's going to go under the arch, but I think to get it to that accuracy by bending it would be, I think it needs to be pretty good at bodywork to do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. It's certainly a cheaper alternative, and it would work. But like I say, you see how nice and crisp that is there. I think you'd be a hard push to get that crispness with a bending stick. Maybe you would. It would depend on how good you are, but I think that's pretty good. So what we're going to do now, he's put the paper template up, and this is where the holes theoretically should be. We'll mark up the rest once this is finished. You can see this is lead loaded, but obviously there's filler to go over the scratches of the lead. The problem with the lead is it's very difficult to get absolutely flat. Well, you can do it, but it takes a long time. So you can see there's a very light skim there. You can see the difference between the metal and the filler there. So what we'll do is do the arches on one side. Again, we'll do the same on the rear. I want to check that the holes are correct, so I'll make that template up now. And you've put the arch up against them, haven't you, already? Yeah. And this is just slightly out from the arch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not much.
Not much.
But so what we're trying to do is to try and help with other people fitting arches, because I think at the end of the day, the arch itself that you're fitting on has to be the template. This is the template from the paper, and it's giving a guide, but I think really you should take it as a guide rather than gospel, that these are definitely the places where the holes should be. So when we bring you back, we'll bring you back when we've put the arch up against it and then remarked it, and then when the arch is on, we'll show it to you. So what we're going to do is we'll do both sides. We'll do the front and the rear arch on this side, and then we'll start and do the same thing on the other side. So that's it for now.